Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm very excited. I got Brandon Steffens with me. Thanks for coming over tonight.
Definitely.
And so tonight we just want to give you a really quick video. We just did an oil change video, so you can check that out on the channel as well. But we thought he's taking it home to do some riding. Thought we would do a video of like top 10 things that we would recommend you doing if you bought a new 450 RX. We went to Switchback Motocross the other night and rode Thursday night. And there's a couple things right away that stood out to us that we think you should do. So let's jump into it. Okay, so the first thing we recommend is, it's called resetting your stepper motor. I've got videos on the channel of doing this, but this bike came with a specific sheet right in the crate for us to do this. Brandon came up to the shop and you started and shut the bike off like 4 or 5 times, just doing good heat cycles on it the day before we went down the track and rode. But then like the first thing past the stepper motor is gonna be replacing the chain. You rode it for like how long?
Probably about an hour, I would say.
Yeah, I think got an hour on it, but like 45 minutes into that, we definitely needed to adjust your chain.
Oh yeah.
It was scary loose. I was actually really nervous. That's probably the first time in a beta that I'd ever seen a loose chain. This is coming with a non-O-ring chain, so we put a brand new gold Moose Racing chain on there for him. I'm much happier and safer with that, I think. Second thing would be a new battery. So they come with the Unibat batteries. They're okay, but it didn't start super well.
They didn't know.
We kind of struggled with that quite a bit. You would crank it, shut off, crank it, shut off. I mean, sometimes it took what, like almost a minute?
It's what it seemed like, yeah.
Yeah, or at least that's what it felt like. We're sitting there going, come on, just start. So, I mean, once it started, it ran great for the whole session. It's just when you came off to talk, then it was like a struggle to get it running again.
Yeah, I think it was something to do with wanting to get that fuel pump to kick on too. Once that fuel pump light kicked on, it wanted to crank over every time.
Yeah. So I think one of the magical ways to get this bike to actually start all the time is going to be hitting the button. So now we've got it, I think, fixed in our mind. What we think now is if you hit it real quick for like a second and the check engine light comes on, you hear the fuel pump kick on, at that point you can stop for a second and then hit it again and it'll start right up. And I noticed that once you got it to actually kick that fuel pump on, the bike will start right after that.
Yeah, every time.
We were just struggling to get that fuel pump to come on, but with a better, stronger battery. So we went with a unit, it's a Western Power Sports featherweight battery in here. I'm really happy with it. So either charge yours really good or change it. That's our recommendation on it. Obviously we did an hour meter because we want to track that kind of stuff too. You're used to tracking hours and service. Yeah. So I think all moto guys, we need to track that kind of stuff. It's important for oil change stuff. And then we're going to do a valve check with you in like 10 hours. So check out that video in the future. We went right to engine ice for the coolant. You're familiar with that?
I am.
Okay, so that's what we ran. We just put engine ice in it as well. I think like the beta coolant is good, but I want to know like he can go to a track and like if he needs engine ice, there's usually like a parts trailer there or somebody that can give coolant. And usually engine ice is something that everybody in the pits has.
Yeah, it's tried and true too.
Exactly. So we went with engine ice. We did add a skid plate because the 450 RX does not come with a skid plate. You've always ran skid plates.
Always, yeah. Especially with the moto, with the rocks flying up and everything. You just want to protect the case for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I had a friend, brand new bike like 4 years ago, not a beta, brand new bike, cracked a rock at the local track within first ride. So I love skid plates. I think it's important. We went with a plastic skid plate. With it being the same frame as like the standard bikes, you could probably do a steel skid plate, but you've ran plastic in the past?
I have, yeah, no issues.
Yeah, I think this actually tucks in nice. You didn't catch your feet on that at all, did you?
I didn't, no.
Okay, cool. So I think the stock, like 4-stroke skid plate is a good place for you guys to start. Probably the cheapest option too. So that's a good place to start. We just changed the oil, like I said. So we're gonna have a video up on the channel in a minute of that happening. Here's the thumbnail for that. Next thing is you notice the spokes are pretty loose too.
Yeah, I think that's with all bikes though, you know, just keep those things checked. You don't want to go out and have something loose and then have a problem later on down the road, bending a wheel or...
Yeah. In the moto world, are you more prone to checking that after every moto, or do you often
just about, yeah, every ride?
That's probably a good thing to do. In the off-road world, like we've never had much problem with the 18-inch rims. Like the off-road guys, we barely check them, but you did notice right away.
Yeah, and I think Fastway makes it. It's a spoke torque wrench. I like keeping that on deck too.
Yeah, that was a cool tool you had. So that was cool. So we definitely checked the spokes probably like halfway through the night even. That wasn't even that late in the night. Checked it pretty early. And then while he did that, we also checked for loose bolts. So after like an hour of ride time, take like an 8 and a 10 around it and check all the bolts. I think the biggest bolt that we noticed loose was like the chain guy. That was loose.
Yeah, it was.
And then I don't remember anything else being loose in particular. But we always check stuff. So just don't let anything fall off your bike. We did a slave cylinder guard right away, and I'm so thankful we did because your chain was super loose. There's actually some marks on here of that showing some wear. So we did a slave cylinder guard, and then we did a rear brake clevis. It's an upgrade. I'll show you the video of that here now. It's pretty cool. It tightens it up.
Definitely.
So the stock one is cool, but it's kind of cool. This piece is like $60, and it's going to give you like a perfect feel. You felt pretty comfortable with the rear brake on the track.
Yeah, I did everything.
Cool.
Set up great.
And then checking the clickers. So the suspension was kind of, just from the factory, they kind of put it wherever, and that's fine. But obviously your level is pretty cool. You can pull off the track and give me, here's what I think we should do. And so right now I'll put his, I guess like we only had like an hour and it was indoors, so it's not perfect testing. But right now I'll put the picture of like where his clickers are now. And then I think the plan is to get a lot more time on it next couple weeks. And maybe from him, I'll get his notes on where he's at with it moving forward. So that would be good.
Definitely.
And then I also always put in here like the clutch fluid and brake fluid. I think it's a good idea to kind of go through that. I don't anticipate, like most moto guys aren't putting like 200 hours on their bikes. My woods guys though, those guys put a ton of abuse on their clutch because they're always going up and down hills. I would probably service the clutch and brake fluid like toward the end of the season just to put new fluid in it. I don't want you to get into a moto and have your clutch fade for no reason. And it's really easy to bleed that kind of stuff. So that's a side note. And then last thing we did was like grease your air filter.
Yeah, I think that's really important too.
Yeah. So we did that. It's done in this bike. So those are our really quick list of things that I think you should do. I'd like to thank you for coming over tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And then stay tuned on the channel. He's going to take one of my GoPros with him and do some. Where are you heading maybe this weekend?
Either Area 51 or Maple Shade.
Cool. So if
Get
you're in
this
the
thing
area,
outdoor.
yeah. So if you're in the area, Western New York, he'll be doing some laps somewhere. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the trail.
Yeah, thank you.